What is gentle parenting? I'm Nicholeen Peck and I teach parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about what gentle parenting is and the best way to achieve the goals of gentle parenting. Why would we need to have a type of parenting called gentle parenting? Shouldn't all parenting be gentle? Well, not all parenting is gentle, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But actually, the way that some people practice gentle parenting is not super gentle either. Let's talk about gentle parenting here and what the best choice is for gentle parenting. Parenting goes through trends and cycles just like everything does. In fact, definitely cycles. We see the same trends in parenting repeating again and again. The gentle parenting trend is actually just a new cycle of parenting. It's coming back around. So it used to be years ago when I was a child that people were trying to do a type of parenting where you would have more of a friend relationship with your child. That type of an approach to parenting was considered to be gentle at the time, meaning you wouldn't be constantly talking about what's wrong and what's right all the time, but instead you would be allowing the child to experience life and then just talk to them about it as you would talk to a friend. Well, there were some negative effects to that movement, and there are some potential negative effects. In fact, maybe we shouldn't even say potential because I'm already seeing the effects, and some of them are negative effects to the gentle parenting movement. Now, of course, all parenting should be gentle. There is no need to be aggressive or abusive, heavy-handed toward a child. Instead, what you need to be is principled and firm and have good communication practices in place so that parents and children can unify as they discuss what's happening with parenting. When most people think of gentle parenting, what they think of are the feelings that the child has. And they hope that if they appeal to the child's heart, then the child will choose to control themselves, to behave themselves in an effective manner. What a lot of people don't understand is there are two types of people when it comes to behavior change. There are people that change from the inside out, and then there are people that change from the outside in. I was definitely one of those people that changed from the outside in. My parents taught me good principles, good morals, good practices. But just because I knew what was right, that didn't mean that I wasn't going to test it. That didn't mean that I was going to do what was right just because every single time. I wanted proof that it was right when I was young, and I had a very strong will. So I would test my limits. I would test my intelligence. I would test what my parents had told me. Just because I knew that it was probably right didn't mean I was going to do it the first time. I was one of those people that sometimes had to change from the outside in. This was something that caused my parents a lot of stress. And because of this, there came a point in my life when I was about 14 years old where they actually started restricting me heavily. They knew the be the friend approach was not going to work and didn't work for me. They also knew that being super aggressive didn't work either. So they tried just shutting me down. No social interaction outside of the family. You don't get to go do the things that you like to do because you know what? They didn't trust me. And I can't blame them. I wasn't living in a way where they maybe could trust me. So I want to tell you how I gained that trust back and talk about the nuts and bolts of gentle parenting. But before we do you see that subscribe button? Click that subscribe button now, and then you'll see more videos that will help you in your parenting, just like this one. So there was a time when I didn't get to do anything with my friends, and it was actually a source of strain in my relationship with my parents. Because they didn't trust me and they were shutting me down, I started pushing harder and harder. Well, one day I happened to be over at a friend's house, which was probably kind of a miracle. And at this friend's house, I was talking with her and her mother. We decided to plan a party. This party was going to be for all the youth in the area, boys and girls. And when you're 14, that sounds like a ton of fun. So we started planning this party, and then it hit me. Nicholeen, you're not going to be able to go to this party. Your parents never let you go to things like this. So I looked at my friend and her mother and I said, you know what? I just realized I'm not going to be able to go to this party. You guys have a good time at the party. My friend's mother looked at me and said, what do you mean you can't come to the party? Of course you have to come. You just helped us plan the whole thing. And I said, you don't understand. My parents never let me do anything anymore. All we ever do is fight. They're never going to let me come to this party. She looked at me and she said something that changed my life. She said, Nicholeen, have you ever thought of just saying okay? I looked at her and I said, what? That would never work. That's what they want me to say. So as a strong-willed person, I thought I had to test everything. I had to get my way by pushing against my parents first. But she challenged me. She said they would postpone the party for 2 weeks. She told me to go home, and every time my parents told me to do something or not to do something, say okay and be okay. Think of that. It's hard to choose to just be okay, but that's what I did. I chose to actually have a heart change and a behavior change, all on my own, just because I wanted to prove my neighbor wrong, because I wanted to show her that what she was telling me would not work. And it changed everything. My relationship with my parents changed. Suddenly, they could be more gentle with me. Suddenly, we could have more meaningful conversations about our feelings. That's actually what it means to have gentle parenting, to talk about how a person feels, to help a person discuss openly with you. The thing is there are many people who assume that gentle parenting means that you don't use consequences, that you don't tell a person that they've earned a negative consequence. But that's actually not good parenting, destroys the roles in the family, and can create a lot of dysfunction. So what I did by having a heart change on the inside and a behavior change on the outside is I set the roles straight in my family. Years ago, I wrote this parenting book, Parenting a House United, and I assumed that everybody understood the concept of family roles. Then people started asking me questions, simple questions like, but what if your child doesn't care? What if they won't talk to you? What if they don't listen to what you have to say? And I said, well, that's a roles issue. So I ended up writing this book called Roles, The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, because I realized that family roles is really what holds all the teaching together. I thought everybody understood that, but they didn't. So they needed 2 books instead of just 1. So let's talk about the family relationships as they relate to the parenting. When you are doing really great parenting, the type that truly is gentle, you maintain your family roles and you plan ahead of time about what you will talk about and you stick to the plan. This book has all my scripts and skills in it. This book helps you get your roles and relationships in the right place. When a parent is going to be gentle, they don't abandon their role as parent. What they do instead is they understand the child and understand themselves, and then teach the child vital skills that they need for communication. Years ago, when I was raising my children and doing therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens, I always taught 4 basic skills. These children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills. They are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns these 4 basic skills, not only does it take care of the majority of their behavioral problems, but it also gives you something to discuss. For instance, with following instructions, there are 5 steps to following an instruction. You look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. So let's say a child dawdles or they get distracted and they don't get a task done. What step do you need to talk about? Doing the task immediately. Let's say you give a child a task to go and clean their room and they go, Okay, and they roll their eyes and breathe out a sigh with their voice. Then you need to talk to them about the calm face, voice, and body step. A good, gentle parent discusses with their children as well as corrects their children. A good correction should involve good discussion and learning. It shouldn't be something that just triggers somebody emotionally. I think a lot of people in their parenting just want to punish or trigger people emotionally. That's not good parenting. A self-governed parent, which is the type of parenting that I teach, would always go back to principle. The principle of parenting is learning and teaching. A parent is a teacher. That's their primary role. A child is a learner. That's their primary role. That means that all moments, even correction moments, should just be teaching moments. But the child still needs to have the opportunity to accept a consequence in order to learn cause and effect. This brings me to the definition of self-government. Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So this means a person understands cause and effect and they understand themselves. If I am going to be really doing my child a favor, I'm going to stay calm myself. And I'm going to teach them the skills that they need for success. But I'm going to give them the opportunity to accept their consequences. Otherwise, they don't get the chance to learn cause and effect. They don't get the chance to truly accept their self-government journey. Gentle parenting should be heartfelt. It should also be something that relies upon the willingness of the child. So your child's will is in their heart. And they should want to obey, right? But what if they don't? What if they don't want to obey and their heart is turned away from you? What should you do? The best thing to do is to work on the relationship and the communication simultaneously. And that is possible in the teaching self-government model of parenting. When a person is truly self-governed, they have a heart that is turned toward their parents. Parents have a heart turned toward children. Children turn their hearts toward their parents. Then they can become one, they can be united. The name of my most popular book is Parenting a House United. The children and the parents should come together as one unit. They should be interdependent upon each other. The culture should be about family unity, not just about self all the time. Most parenting practices, whether they're bully, fear-based parenting practices, or whether they're permissive, let's just be friends, modern progressive type parenting practices, sometimes even the quote-unquote gentle parenting practices end up being translated into those modern progressive parenting practices. Those practices are all manipulative for the relationship, and they oftentimes leave a lot to be desired when it comes to teaching and directing the child down a path that they will be the most productive. Parents are supposed to lead and guide, teach and direct. That means we have to be able to be bringing something to the table, not just leaving the children and discussing their emotions. Emotions are important to discuss. I have many videos about emotions on this channel. I highly recommend looking at any of the videos related to emotions so that you can understand how to really discuss and communicate about emotions with your children. But let's be very careful not to get caught up in the concept of emotions and feelings so that we don't do the proper teaching for our children and undermine our roles and the whole teaching environment. Many people who try gentle parenting end up getting walked upon by their children because they don't have all the tools that they need. I've got those tools for you. If you have enjoyed this video, I know you'll love my next video, which is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. If you click on the link to that video, you'll find out more about how to create a gentle parenting environment that truly is gentle, but also honors the roles, helps discuss with their children, helps children have a change of heart, but also sometimes with those children who have a change of heart from the outside in, helps them have a change of behavior that will lead to a change of heart too. Click on the link to The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success now. I'll see you there.